Hello, Willowdale and beyond. Welcome to Meet Your Neighbor, NeighborLink North York's weekly interview series. Each episode, we introduce you to new neighbors in the spirit of building a more connected community. I'm Sebastian Biasucci, and this week, I'm excited for you to meet not one, not two, but three neighbors. Okay, well, technically former neighbors, as they currently live all across North America, but they truly feel like neighbors because they are active in their Facebook group Willowdale in the 70s. Our guests, Bruce Anderson, Howie Kluger, and Kirsten Ness, founded the group to reconnect with old friends, classmates, and teachers. It's a space to share memories and everyone's love of Willowdale. The group has over 19,000 members. I'm sure a few are watching right now. We're thrilled to welcome Howie back and also get to meet Kirsten and Bruce. So let's get to it. Allow me to introduce your host, Lily Chang. Hey, Lily.
Good. Hey, Sebastian. Thanks for the introduction. And we are so excited about tonight because we are chatting with the founders of Willowdale in the 70s. And this group is now legend on Facebook. I've never seen a community of this size be able to function in such a healthy way. It's part village, part nostalgia, part comedic feed, and part inspiration. It's a beautiful, wonderful mix of people, all of whom are fans of Willowdale. Whether or not they live here anymore, they share beautiful memories and they celebrate each other's lives. And so we're so excited to talk to Kirsten, Howie, and Bruce about how it all came to be. I have a feeling they're going to end up interviewing each other. So I'm just going to take a back seat to this conversation and we're going to dive in and find out more about how this magic happened. So let's welcome Howie, Bruce, and Kirsten. Hi, guys. How's it going?
Hey. Hi, Lily.
So the first question I have is, when was the last time the three of you were in a room together?
Wow.
75? 76? Probably 76.
76. I was 10 when you left. Sorry, I'm not bitter, but it's already coming out. It might just as well.
Okay, so let's get this story out before we continue. What happened in 1976 that dissolved this current trio of friends? What happened?
Yeah, Kirsten, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to handle it?
I think it's on Bruce. I'm going to say that's on Bruce.
I'll do the play.
Go ahead, Bruce.
And then Kirsten, you can do
bastard,
Okay.
So, yeah, in 76, my parents split up, and my brother and I moved with my mom to Halifax. And apparently, there was no saying goodbye. There was no nothing. There was just like, we're out. And so, so Kirsten never got to say goodbye. The really weird thing is, I would go back each summer to visit. And we would end up staying at my dad's place, who lived right across the street at the top of Neighbour in those townhouses. And I never got up the courage to even walk into the neighborhood because I figured, nobody will remember me. And so I never did.
Are you kidding? Wow.
And Kirsten described the moment where she actually went to your door one day. Yeah. And
well, it would have been the next day, because at that point, I think we pretty much saw each other every day because we lived in the same townhouse you did. So his was just sort of a few houses down rather. So I was there every day. Who am I kidding? I can't think I wasn't.
So this is grade 4, right? You guys, the last year that you guys were playing together, hanging out, grade 4, and then you all went different ways. Howie and Kirsten, did you guys maintain a friendship for years further on?
So,
yeah, funny. Well, yes.
There may be a story in 1996 New York, but I'm not going to tell it.
No.
So
another time.
So Bruce moved away in circa 1976. So let's be honest. So Bruce was Kirsten's one true love, next to John Savage, who moved away in grade 4. So Kirsten
really sucked.
So Kirsten's soulmate was always Bruce. And I was like the big, the fat kid in school, whatever. But I was like put in the friend zone immediately, rightfully so. And yeah, no, Bruce moved away. I guess was it 76? Bruce, you moved to Nova Scotia or
Yes, summer 76 to Halifax.
yeah. And then when did you move to LA eventually?
Oh God, 94.
Yeah. So Bruce has lived in LA since 94. I've been in New York since 97. And Kirsten, you've been in St. Catharines since
93.
wow.
Wow.
Jeez, like the latecomer, yeah.
So
So yeah, I would say 1976 is probably the last year we were in person together.
But
And-
you and I, Howie, when did I see you last? Was at the end of grade 6, I guess, right?
No,
Well,
well,
didn't
I we may have
Well,
seen
no,
each
other
other
than
in
the
New York.
1996 thing, but yeah.
But didn't you guys
Um,
go to like junior high together?
Well, no, Howard's discussed.
So Lily, here's the story.
Yeah.
It's the most unrequited love story of all time. So I had a mad crush on Kirsten my entire time in Lescon. She loved Bruce. I accepted that. But I used to like ride up Nymark to her Shaughnessy townhome every freaking day for years. And then get how pathetic this is. Then I went to Don Valley thinking maybe there's a chance like Kirsten went to Don Valley. So I went there into grade 7. I used to like look around the side of the portables. When I first got there, I'm like, Kirsten's going to appear. It's all going to be good. She went to Woodbine, broke my heart, and the rest is history.
I'm sorry.
wow.
Yeah,
But we're still friends to this day, so there's
Yeah.
a kind of
Yeah.
a happy ending.
Yeah, absolutely. But he was my shoulder to cry on, my best friend through all my broken hearts. And yeah, for actually pretty much when we got back, when we connected again, you kind of slipped right back into that role easily. Yes, I was going through a troubled time at the time. And yeah, you helped me through that one too.
So did you guys lose touch after a certain point? And then if so, what was it, Facebook that you found each other again?
Yes, and we can thank Bruce actually.
So I went hunting. So I had gone through I got an old photo album from my mom's place. Excuse me. And I started flipping through it, and I was seeing all these pictures from Toronto. And my only recollection of Toronto was these two fools and a bunch of photos, and like a couple of interactions with some other people and playing hockey. And I remembered the rocket ship in the yard and how the chip paint failed and all those sorts of things. There were a lot of really tactile memories. But going through the photos, and there was this photo called Bren Steele's Going Away Party, which was in my basement in the townhouse on Shaughnessy. And it had all these people in it and no names at all. Just Bren Steele's Going Away Party and a bunch of people. And I knew who Kirsten was. She was the only one I could identify. And so I when Facebook became a thing, it was the very first thing I did, I think in 2007. I posted this picture. And I'm like, where are these people? And slowly, people would drop in and go, here, I know who this person is. This was a friend of my big brother's little sister, like all these sort of random connections. And then at some point, we connected with Howie. And then Howie, you had posted it on your Facebook wall or something like that.
Yeah, so honestly, it's like very emotional. Like I love these two people. This is awesome. Yeah, so what had happened is some friend Noel Cunningham from Lescon, like grade 6, 5, 4, whatever it was, reached out to me out of nowhere. He posted on my Facebook page like, "Hey Howie, I've been looking for you," whatever it was. Like, anyway, so that's spurred on probably the longest thread ever on my personal page, and it was just great. And Noel was like, "How are you doing?" And this was literally 40 years later from Lescon. And then Bruce, Kirsten, and I started speaking. Bruce, and I've said this from the start, and I'll always say this, Bruce was the guy who set up Willowdale in the 70s. Kirsten, I had no clue. Like,
Well,
maybe Kirsten had a clue. I had no clue.
We ended up in this big long thread on your page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce,
I was like,
Bruce,
guys, why don't we like get a room?
But Bruce literally pushed the button to start Willowdale in the 70s. I've said that from the start. I'll always say that. He was the one that formed the group. He made it happen. And that was November 6th or so in 2018. And because he's so technically inclined, we couldn't have made it happen, but he made it happen. And then it was what, Bruce? It was originally supposed to be for like I think Less Gone grade 4, Mr. Walters class.
Well, it was private, and I think we originally called it Less Gone in the 70s.
Yeah.
And it was really just this little group. There were like 20 people. And then all of a sudden, remember, it was like a week in, we're like, there's 100 people in here. This is madness. And then after a few hundred, somebody said, maybe Willowdale instead of just Less Gone. And so we expanded it to Willowdale in the 70s. But you know what? Now that I say that, it might have been Less Gone 4th grade 75 for a minute. And then
it was definitely really targeted.
It was very targeted. It was really just that thread, essentially. It's like, hey, you guys, come talk over here, okay?
By the way, the photo, this is the photo.
That's the photo right there.
Very poorly cropped, but that's me.
No, so here's Bruce. That's you, like with, of course, the captainship in Don Valley. This is me over here, the fat, like, guy that just tried to fit in. Okay, so and here's Kirsten stuffing her face with popcorn over here somewhere.
There's Kirsten.
Beside Bruce, always.
Boy, this camera is messing me up. This is Howie.
The only miracle here is that we're not wearing the same shirt.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure that was actually not my shirt. Is that not your shirt?
It's
for some reason, I had it bad for this guy. I might have been 10, but no, bad.
So you started this group, you're reconnecting with friends, but it sounds like in another space, Kirsten, you were going through something in your life, and this friendship with Howie and Bruce was carrying you through a moment. Well, if you don't mind maybe sharing a bit what was happening on that side, because I think, the ties that have held you guys together because you carried each other, that DNA is now in the group, right? Like people go through things and you all carry each other. So what was happening as the group was being formed?
Yeah, well, it goes back, I guess, further to when Bruce, I can't remember now, it was you that reached out to me first, I think, wasn't it? Of the three of us getting together, or did I talk to Howie first?
I think you talked to Howie, and we were like, holy shit. One of us, I don't know if you reached out to me or I reached out to you.
Yeah. Someone said, do you remember me, Bruce Anderson? I'm like, well, I think so.
I think the whole thing, honestly, I think the whole thing started. Bruce posted a picture, the party picture that he had up. Honestly, that was the genesis of it all. Like I joined Facebook maybe 2009, but I had connected like with nobody. And Bruce posted that picture, tagged me, and then Kirsten, you and I connected. It was totally Bruce's posting of that party picture. It started it all for sure.
And then Bruce had found me that picture before that. Bruce, I think you had found me before.
I was randomly like
you were randomly messaging people that were called Kirsten Ness.
I was trying to remember if it was it KEE or did I have it backwards? It was KRI.
Yep.
I was like anybody with the last name Ness was getting a message. It was a little needy, quite frankly.
Maybe, but it was very sweet. And I was so touched, and I didn't actually really realize, I was 10 when it happened. It's like an ordeal, right? But it was because we moved in the same area. I was 6, so between 6 and 10, you grew up with somebody like a brother, kind of. Anyway, so when by the time in what was it, I think 2008, 2009, when we were sort of all getting into Facebook, or at least I was, um, to hear from Bruce just kind of brought back a flood of memories and feelings and things that I didn't even know I still carried around with me, to be honest. Do you remember the first phone call?
I think it was in an airport. Was I in Dallas or
Yeah,
something like that?
I was bawling. I didn't even realize yeah, anyway, I'm gonna cry now. That's nice. But yeah, it seems to have, for both of us, set off this sort of separation anxiety issue that we kind of carried with us, as it turns out, into adulthood, which is improving, by the way. Now that I kind of, yeah, it is. Now that I figured out what the heck. So apparently, it actually was very scarring, and Facebook, well, yeah, let us get back together to contact one another again, and it just, put, I think, unfinished business that I didn't even at that point. It's not like you think about it much, 40 years on. Yeah, you remember it as a thing that happened, but it's not like you're crying daily at that point. Then, yeah, it was just brought back so much, so much. And it really as if no time had passed in some ways. The feelings, obviously, we were completely different people, and he's, a complete stranger in many ways. But the feelings that I had then are still the feelings that I have now. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like no time passed for either one. Like for Howie, who, by the way, I called Howard till actually probably very recently. I keep wanting to call you Howard because I did. He was just Howard. That's who he was. He's Howard. It didn't occur to me that might not be a name that you wanted to be called.
No, I don't. Anyone that's known me, Kirsten, as long as as Bruce has, like, when I hear Howard, honestly, it's like a throwback. It gives me like a really like a warm, fuzzy feeling of like, and we're still here now. And no, and I in the Willowdale group, I'm obviously the most active admin. Bruce absolutely, I'll say this forever, created the group. But I mean, I just want to say, like, the fact that I can still stay in touch with Bruce and Kirsten, and people might be like, what happened? Like, why Bruce isn't on that much, Kirsten's not on that much. But honestly, it's just because they actually have a life. But honestly, I love these two. There, nothing went wrong, nothing happened, other than me being a bit of a control freak. But and Lily, you know that too, very well. But but honestly, like Bruce and Kirsten, like these two
do you mean why Bruce and I aren't as active?
No. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying, like, Bruce and Kirsten are like friends. I'll always hold deep in my heart, and nothing will ever like take that away. And they're like, people might say, "Where's Bruce? Where's Kirsten?" Like, well, Howie, you and your admin team. There's no admin team. It's me, Bruce, Kirsten. No, it's me, Bruce, Kirsten, as much as they want to jump in or out. But I love these two people. I just want to make that clear. Like, we're still as good friends as ever, if not better. And I love these two people.
But I will tell you, the group, thank you for that, Howie. And it is echoed. But I'm sure I speak for Kirsten in that I say, well, and here I kind of mixed between Kurt and Kier there, didn't I? I apologize.
Yeah, okay. Down to this. Here's the thing. So Howard's been my best friend literally since I was 6 years old. So, oh no, did we meet? No, yeah. So he only tonight realized he's been mispronouncing my name. But what's weirder is I only tonight realized
you've been mispronouncing your own name. Let's get.
I don't think Howie ever said your name. I think he always went.
I don't think we've ever met before. Who are you two?
But you just like you just.
I think Howie just always stammered and eventually said.
You don't have to. It's not an event. You don't need a linguistics class. You just. What the heck?
So, but back to what Howie's saying. So, we started the group together off of this chat on Howie's page around this photo. And it became a big deal, and we spent a lot of time on it. I mean, the three of us establishing, what should the group rules be? Where are we on political discussions? Where are we on commercial ventures and establishing all of these different sort of groups and threads and all that kind of stuff. And it was a lot of work, and there was a lot of curation. And it got to a point where it was frankly, it was too much work. But the other part was Howie was on it all the time. So
Howie's like,
well, the other thing that was starting to happen is that Howie was ready to just sort of curate all the discussions that were happening, but he felt like he had to check in with us. And so we're like, run, go. So that's one. Number two, the group is very, very, very vibrant in terms of its conversations. People are very comfortable posting, so like that. Howie's the guy that created School of the Day and all these other recurring themes. Like, he's the one that's curated all these collections so that you can search the group for anything you're looking for and pretty much find it. That is all that guy. That's all Howie. And he would come up with these ideas all the time, and he'd PM us, and we'd be like,
dude, you got this. Why are you even asking? Like, you got this, you know? And like, he just, I don't know how you find the time, and you're just naturally do it. It's not even like it's not even like it's an effort, or at least you make it seem like it's effortless. Like, you're just so full of material and ways that we can connect, and you're so gentle and caring and loving and supportive. And you've always been that way, always. And funny as holy hell, but that's just a cover for the gentle heart.
He's great, because every now and then, you know, we all get notified on when there's somebody reported a comment or reported a post or something like that. And every now and then I'll get in first before Howie's taking care of it. And I'm a jerk. I'm like, nope, you're done. You're out. Later, canceled. Howie's like, no, well, hey, what about this? And enters into conversations. He's friends with every single person in the group. Like, everybody in the group has a personal relationship with the group. I feel like Howie has a personal relationship with everybody in the group. And that's why the group is so warm and engaging, I think. So it's all Howie.
100%.
I often say that I think Howie could hold a masterclass in village building in the digital era, because really that's what, I mean, you guys seeded it together, but then he continued and built this village. What do you think it is about Willowdale as a community that causes people to want to come back to this identity, to this moment in time, that they want to build a village around them based on growing up in Willowdale? What was so special and magical about that time?
I had some thoughts, but if you guys...
No, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
I talk enough. You two go ahead.
Howard, plus, you're having a moment.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
Howie says, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Oh,
No, go ahead, please.
It's all right. You know, I think Willowdale, and I'm sure, I mean, it's probably not exclusive amongst communities, but all I can speak to is Willowdale in the 70s. And it was a simpler time. And I know everybody's childhood is a simpler time. It's kind of the point of childhood. But it was a very warm, almost insular. Like, it was like a place outside of Toronto. I didn't really consider it almost as part of Toronto, even though, of course, it was. But although at the time, I guess it wasn't, because it was North York. But it was very much its own place. And everybody, I think the three of us were all brought up with, you know, above all, be kind. Just be kind. And that's the cornerstone of our friendship, and always has been, is love and warmth and kindness. And so that founded the group. And basically, it's kind of trying to continue the conversation we'd like to be having amongst ourselves. So Howard graciously, yes, our own little bubble in the big city. Exactly. It seems very insular. It seems like a very close-knit community somehow, even in the center of this giant metropolis. It's very close-knit, and we need to be kind. Yes, we feel safe. I felt safe there, always. What about you guys?
So for me, like, the thing for me, and it kind of ties into Facebook, but this adventure in particular was the first that made me realize that I've had sort of a couple of pretty severe separation moments, if you will, in my life. And the first one was when I was 9 turning 10, summer of 76, when we moved away from Willowdale. All of my friendships gone, zero way to contact anybody. I had addresses, but I was a 9-year-old boy who's writing letters. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even have the courage to walk across the street when I was there the following summer. Right. So I felt a need to reconnect there. Thank goodness for Facebook, or I'd probably still be going through that, looking at those photos every week. And then there were a couple of others where I felt like I needed to reconnect with parts of my life between then and now. And so, so for me, that was the thing, is to reconnect with what I felt was a lost part of myself. And I still have, I wish we were all together, because I'd love to walk around the neighborhood, because I have specific memories about places, and I'm like on Google Photos trying to like locate this memory. I can't find it. Someday I'll reconnect all of it, and then I'll be complete. But for me, that's what it was. I always felt safe in Willowdale, but I was 9. Like, in what sort of circumstances was I not going to feel safe? I remember getting lost on the subway on the way to a Leafs game one time. That was probably about as unsafe as I ever felt. But frankly, even then, I probably wasn't particularly a risk.
I want to hear Howie's answer, but before he says his, viewpoint, I wanted to just say that, it sounds like, we all go through childhood, and there's trauma that happens as we grow up. And somehow this group has become a conduit and a place of healing and reconnection. It's been that way, it sounds like, for you, Kirsten, and for you, Bruce, that there were points of trauma in your life, and you needed to reconnect with a simpler version of life, a simpler version of you, and a reminder of the safety of the world. And now more than ever, I think we all need to find safety, because it does feel like the world is spinning off its axis sometimes. So it's just so beautiful that a Facebook group, really, if you think about it, a Facebook group could be this for so many people. And, did you even imagine that when the three of you sat there talking about rules and like how you're going to govern this?
It just kind of organically, it just sort of organically evolved. It wasn't sort of that we had sort of set out to design a Facebook group. It was just sort of, well, here, we need a place to do this. Okay, Bruce knows how to set up a Facebook page. Thank goodness. And so, at least we got the technical stuff, and then the feeling that we wanted to portray. The fact that it actually translated into a group is actually kind of cool if you think about it. That it can go from how we would be in real life together to ensuring that stays like that in the group. And you, like Howard, 100% Howard on that. I guess just by continuing to insist on niceness, and kindness. Anyway, oh my God.
Yeah, so
where was I going with that?
Howie, Howie, what is the magic of Willowdale, and how has it drawn so many people? Like, I really believe what's drawn a lot of people is what you're saying, the kindness, the DNA that all of you, especially Howie, has sown into this group. That has really brought people out. They feel like, oh, this is a safe place for me to reconnect, to heal, to share. But what is that thing about Willowdale that has helped people to come to this place, Howie? What do you think it is?
So I think that the whole reason the group was formed from day one was to reconnect with people from our grade, from our Mr. Walter grade 4 at Lescon circa 1976. That was the whole model, was let's reconnect with friends we know and we knew, old teachers, old neighbors, old friends, old relatives, whatever. And this is what's carried us through. And I would say 90% of the new, 90% of the new features or whatever ongoing standing features I think of for the group are all about reconnecting. So it's like, what street did you grow up on? What school did you go to? How far do you live from Peanut Plaza? Are you looking for someone? What's their name? But let's do this in an organized way. Like it's every like 70% of the features, standing features I've created are all about reconnecting or connecting to new friends. And honestly, like without Kirsten and Bruce, none of this would have happened. Like I have to reiterate that. Like everyone, people are nice enough to say thanks, Howie, whatever, blah blah blah, for this and that. Your admin team. I'm like, there's no admin team. It's me, Kirsten, and Bruce. The three of us did this. Bruce literally was the guy who set this up. Like this would not have happened if Bruce didn't have that technical.
No, stop that.
It wouldn't have.
Stop
It honestly wouldn't have happened.
Okay, stop.
But
Thing is, stop.
No, it literally would not have happened.
Well,
I couldn't have done it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have. But it'd been okay. So that was, day 10. But then, when we bailed on you, it wouldn't have continued to happen. I know it wasn't day 10.
Okay, so let me say.
By the way, this is me and Howie. Howie's in the blue shirt with the top.
Oh my God.
Bruce and I plotting against the world.
I'm on his right in the brown jacket, and
I was
red.
like plotting against the world. No, but really, like, no, it wouldn't. It honestly wouldn't have happened. But we had some growing pains. Bruce and Kirsten can tell you. Bruce will say, like, Howie, why you're texting me on a Friday night? I'm with my family, and you're like going on about like somebody said something untoward, and he was totally right. And I'm completely obsessed and nutty, and like the group is my life. And Bruce was like, I actually have a life. Like, leave me alone. And Kirsten too, to their credit.
It's a little nicer than that, I think.
No, but I wish I had I wish I had that degree of a life, but I don't. But yeah, so I don't know. So this is where we are.
Didn't Bruce punch you once? Just going back for a minute to Willowdale. Didn't Bruce punch you once in the gut? Was it kind of like one of those moments?
Yeah, so that was in the in my behind the green door whole thing was like Bruce as a friend. It was like a Houdini moment. I said, Bruce, punch me in the gut and I'm going to pull like a Houdini and I'm not going to feel it. This is in grade 4. Bruce punched me in the gut and I've never in my life ever felt that pain, like that kind of pain again. I'm like, how does a grade 4 have wield this kind of like superpower? No, Bruce is like, yeah. So every time like we started the group and Bruce is like, Howie, you need to like do this or that. I'm like, okay, just don't punch me. But yeah, it's all good.
Well, it sounds like, obviously we all bring different colors to the palette, but you hold each other with a lot of grace.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, I know the difficulty of managing a Facebook group, different agendas, and things can get testy, and it's hard to make a call. And I too, like Howie, have texted people in the middle of the night, like, it's falling apart. I don't know what to do. And they're like, I'm sleeping. That's what I'm doing. So, but through it all, I think what's really unique about the group is just how people are celebrated, how you lift each other up. You're always featuring people's wins, celebrating their lives, even after people have passed away, you're celebrating their contributions. And what do you think this group, this village, has meant during a pandemic? Because I actually think more than ever, people have needed a village that they can be part of that's not in person. What do you think Willowdale in the 70s has meant to people or meant to you during this pandemic?
Wow, yeah. Sometimes it's the only social contact that people are having, or one of the few. Sometimes the only really safe place to have a discourse, and sometimes in parts the only place to gather and chew the fat where we don't talk about the pandemic. at one point we had the don't talk about the pandemic era for a little while, when it was decided that it was just too much for everybody. So it's a safe place to go and feel like you're a little kid again. I think it makes me feel like I'm there and I'm a little kid again. I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm warm, I'm loved, I'm a little kid. And and I think that's a place where we all kind of want to be sometimes.
How about for you, Bruce?
I haven't. One of the very first things I did actually during the pandemic was get Facebook off of my phone, because what I found I was doing was just I was doom scrolling. Remember that was a term that came up. It was pre-pandemic, but we're not going to talk about politics. But doom scrolling became a thing, and I was doing it all the time. I dropped Facebook. So I actually literally had to come down to this room I'm in right now in order to check Facebook. And so, I think we all had different coping mechanisms during the pandemic. We're all still coping after all. I mean, it's not like normalcy has ever returned. And so, for sure, diving into your social network, diving into Wits, diving into whatever you need to help you escape and help you connect in some different way is important. I mean, I personally was very fortunate. I've got my family around. I have a place that I can work remotely. I haven't particularly, except for the separation from actual other human beings that aren't family. So I was pretty fortunate. But I know folks that were single, and in the earliest days, they were completely and utterly alone, shut away in their apartments. And for those folks, I know that their social networks were vital. And I hope that Willowdale in the 70s was that for some of our members.
Yeah, just reading this comment from Marla, and she sounds like she's been through a tremendous 2 years, and it has been a place of connection for her.
That's great. I can tell you for sure, there was no way when we founded this group and set its rules and kept the conversation going the way that Howie did, that we ever thought that this would have anything but the most sort of surface level impact on people's lives. And folks that like the gal that you were just quoting there in her comments, and I know others have found deep connections and been deeply impacted. I think it's fantastic. I feel very proud to have been a small part of it.
It sounds like the place also has facilitated moments just kind of like the three of us had when we rediscovered each other and found each other. And if we can bring that to anybody else or facilitate that in any way, I mean, that's just, I feel so good that if we've been able to do that, because what a great feeling it was. What a relief. What a tying up of loose ends a tremendous ease reconnecting again. And if we got that, if we can give anybody even a little piece of what that felt like, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's all I like to say. Like Bruce is talking about, like a little piece. Like Bruce is not a little piece. Bruce and Kirsten are humongous pieces of this whole thing, and reconnecting with them alone was like enormous for me personally. So it was. If it had stopped at that, it would have been like, okay, my work is done here. Bruce has posted some old photos of parties, and I love that, and I love reconnecting with Kirsten after like 40 years or whatever. Their involvement in this is not to be understated. Like even the first year or so, like they can tell you, like I was impossible. And Lily, you know this. Lily, you've worked with me. I am a control freak. I'm crazy. I'm insane. Bruce and Kirsten both gave like some amazing advice, like calming advice, like and it never would have turned out to what it is without both of them. And and people are probably like, what happened to them? They're not so involved, but honestly, like it never would be what it is now without these two. And I love them both, and I am so thankful to have reconnected with them and to be on, like for the first time ever in since 1976 in person, to be with them. So I just want to be known, like I love them. This would never be what it is without these two people.
Thank
great.
you.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for manning the show so
Yeah,
well.
no, you're
So
always
well.
both of them. They might not be visible, it's like, as out there as I am, but they're always in the background, always giving good advice, always keeping me in check, which is not easy to do. But I couldn't have asked for two better people to like start this group with, for sure.
Well,
And
I was gonna say I look forward to the day when you guys can meet in person again and be in a room. And I know geographically that is you're pretty far from each other, but people can fly again now, so it is possible.
We almost did it. We almost did it last summer.
oh, we
I've
were
been-
so close
been
for
so
August.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turned out I had an accident, broke my hand the week before, like 4 days before the thing. And I was actually going to Africa, which was fantastic. I think 3 or 4 days after the reunion. So it just wasn't to be.
Yeah. That was gonna happen.
Next time Howie
time.
flies in
Yeah.
and
Next
Bruce
time.
can fly in too. So we are going to start the Willowdale rapid fire round.
Uh-oh.
And we will talk about the, Willowdale circa 1976. Or, if you want a recent discovery is fine too. What was your favorite place to hang out in Willowdale? And we'll start with you, Howie.
Well, if we're going to talk 1976, I'm going to say the Shaughnessy Apartments outside of Kirsten's home.
The townhouses. The townhouses were the best place to grow up and play.
Yeah.
Because the parking lot or the parking strip, I guess, was off to the side. So and then you had walkways to get into sort of like the rows of houses. So there was no vehicle traffic, and it was all landscaped and paths, and we all knew all the secret paths, which were like silly holes in the chain link fence. But oh my God, if you know about the secret hole, and it just was a wonderful place to hang out. That's definitely where I'd have been.
And you, Bruce, is the
Well,
same?
I remember that the townhouses for sure, and especially the hockey games, the massive street hockey we used to have on that strip. Which, when I think of it now, I think it's a hill. I don't know what we were thinking. So whoever had to run that hill, apparently it wasn't an issue when we were that age. But I will tell you, I remember one year Mike McGinnis won the scoring championship, and Kirsten had bet him something outrageous, like if you score 100 goals, I'll eat an onion or something like that. And he did.
That's exactly what it was. I'll eat a whole onion.
And she did. So,
and damn it, didn't he score the? Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say the townhouses too. Or, the only exception would be after a heavy rain, when there was a gully between the Lescon field and like the big park that would fill up, and you could sort of wallow in and play in the mud up to your neck. That would be number 2 for me.
Okay. What was your favorite place to eat in Willowdale?
Oh, that's easy. That's Patty's at Allen's Pastry, the Jamaican patties. 2 patties hot and a ginger beer. Yes.
How about you, Bruce?
Me, I don't remember eating anywhere except at home.
Some KD or
Probably.
Howie?
The best place was P&S Burger, no question. It's just west of Leslie, along Shepherd, across from the Canadian Tire. Final answer. Next to Allen's Pastry Shop at the Peanut Plaza.
That's a close. Okay, can we have a tie for top?
For sure.
Yeah, for full meal, definitely P&S Burgers. But otherwise, definitely the Allen's at the bakery. Best Jamaican patties ever anywhere.
Lily, what is your favorite place in Willowdale now?
Oh, well, currently my go-to takeout when I don't feel like cooking is it's fairly newish Chinese hand-pulled noodles. And it's from a province in China called Lanzhou. So it's Lanzhou. It's called Gauls, Gol, Gauls noodles. And Really, really tasty. So
Young
yes,
Street between Finch and Steeles. Where is it?
it's on Yonge Street between Church Avenue and Finch.
Got it.
So near Young, just south of Young and Finch. So the next
Good
question,
tip. Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
Go ahead. I said good tip.
Yeah. If you guys have a reunion, I would be happy to take you on a mini food tour here in Willowdale, because there are lots of tasty food. It's very international. Yeah, we can have Korean, Persian,
Ideas. There's
Chinese.
ideas.
So I'd be happy to host. And
I'm going back every month at this point, so Kirsten's close enough to drive back. Bruce is the
Definitely.
wild card here because
If Bruce was
he's in
flying,
LA, so he's a bit further away.
yeah. If you had to come in this area on business, I would drop everything else just to make it happen for sure.
Okay, we know you would. Whatever.
Oh, shush! Legit reasons.
Unless she breaks a bone or something.
I would drop everything too if Bruce comes.
How do you think Willowdale has changed over these, how many decades is that? 4 decades? 5 decades?
4 decades since we were there.
Yeah. How has it changed from what you can surmise if you haven't been here recently?
Yeah, I have. And it's just, it's sort of like the difference when you're in Toronto and then you go to New York. Because you thought Toronto was busy, and then you go to New York, and you're like, oh, that's what a lot of people look like. It's kind of like that has happened. Like it's been New Yorkified. It's gigantic. You can't get anywhere in any kind of time at all.
Mm-hmm.
The Shepherd Avenue Raceway, where holy crap! I mean, it's just massively bigger, more people.
Right. Yes, because I think it was like a kind of a sleepy suburb when you guys were growing up here, right? How about you, Bruce? What do you think has changed in Willowdale over time?
Well, it's been a long time since I've been there. Every time I went back as an adult, I would take a moment to drive through and just kind of check it out. But it's been 15 years since I was there.
You're overdue.
All I remember is the building seems smaller. So I don't have much to add in this one. Sorry.
It's okay. How about you,
Bruce?
Howie?
If we do a reunion again this summer, say I hope you can possibly come back.
If we do a reunion, we have to get all the people that lived in those townhouses together, and we're just going to do a townhouse block takeover.
We're going to get Chris Luca. We're going to get Chuck Muir. We're going to get Bruce, Kirsten, and Kirsten.
Everybody's going to be there.
We're going to get Kirsten and Kirsten.
Mike.
We're going to hang out on the swings. We're going to go down that slide that was made of metal.
Oh, it was a horrible.
90 degrees. We're
I
left
35% of my body skin on that slide, by the way.
That has left psychological scars with me as well. That and being stuck in the ball part of the rocket and not able to turn around and get out.
We're going to cut through the hole in the fence to go over to the Peanut. We're going to do all that stuff.
Aww.
Exactly.
And then go to Peanut Plaza for Alan's pastry shop and
I think
Baskin Robbins French vanilla. That's it.
And you asked, what is it about Willowdale that what is it about Willowdale that makes it special? And I think the Peanut Plaza everybody in their little area of Willowdale would have had a similar thing, but the just having something like the Peanut Plaza and that whole peanut area with the schools and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't find that kind of thing everywhere, right in the middle of a city like that. It's like growing up in a small town in the city. I think that's, to me, what it felt like.
And so, Kirsten and Howie, what do you think has stayed the same over these 40 years when you come back to Willowdale?
So my mom's interior decorations have not changed in 55 years, and that stayed the same. Actually, Kirsten and Bruce, where you live, and I've been back there not that long ago. It's actually remarkably still the same.
It hasn't really changed.
Yeah. No, there are definitely some streets where it's like every modest Willowdale home has been replaced by a McMansion or whatnot. But honestly, like the Shaughnessy Apartments, Lochmere Terrace, Bellbury, Nymark, like where I grew up around, it's really hasn't yet been hit by like the new construction. So, for better for worse, whatever you think about it, but it looks very much the same. Like Lescon looks identical. You don't have the rocket, but you have some slightly safer playground rides. But yeah, no, it's in our area. It's very much like stuck in time, which I'm happy with.
That's beautiful. And for our last question of the evening, what is or was your favorite Willowdale moment?
Oh boy, that's a
Bruce,
toughie.
go ahead.
Let's start with Bruce.
Yeah.
What was your favorite Willowdale moment?
It's hard to separate the things I remember because I saw a picture, the things like that I actually remember. It's hard to pick a favorite of the ones that I actually remember.
Or maybe one that's just comes to mind that's especially.
Well, so I do remember, didn't we used to do like, weren't there days where the whole school like had a big like competitions in the park and stuff like that?
Field day, yeah, for sure.
Is that what it's called? Field days?
Yeah.
Like I have this very sort of fading recollection of that, and ribbons and I don't know, like juice and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like, it's
but
like
Bruce, were you also like
favorite.
captain of your Don Valley like house like
Yeah,
teams?
yeah. But all my hockey memories are of the picture. Right? There's other memories that I have but it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a favorite. It really is hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
I wish I had a graduation moment I could go back to and say that was my favorite. But
Bruce, did you don't remember like I remember your hockey games and your practices. You don't actually remember that.
No, I remember how cold it was.
Very cold and so early in the morning. Oh my God.
Bruce, you must have played at Woodbine Arena, right? For the most part?
Probably. I mean, I played only one season.
You were the captain of the team somehow. So
yeah, for Neighbour.
I played many seasons and I was never.
But I also played. I guess I played for Agincourt. The Agincourt Canadians is in a lot of my pictures. So
no, there's definitely a picture of you for Don Valley Village as the captain for sure.
Yeah, I have that. I remember that from a picture.
You have that shirt?
He's going
He's getting a drink.
Oh, shame. That's what this room is missing.
What's that?
A bar fridge.
It's a speaker fridge. It looks like a speaker. That's
awesome.
So cool.
I love it.
Does it say Fender on it or?
It's Marshall.
Oh, Marshall.
Yeah.
From here.
Toys. We have to have toys, right?
Nice. How about you, Kirsten? What's your favorite Willowdale moment?
I think, man, there's so many memories there. I think it's more my favorite memories of, it seems like there was endless summer days where we just hung out and like, it seemed like forever, days and days and days and days and days and days and days of just happiness and happy memories and just hanging out and without a care in the world. And so I guess it's not a memory, but the memories of that, of just being carefree.
Yes, it's I think, I don't know if it was like that for you guys, but the whole like come home when the street lights go on.
Yes.
And the free reign kind of child is no longer a thing in modern society. So that era and that memory of just hanging out without the pressures and just not having nowadays I feel like young people, they are competing already. It feels like the world has very limited opportunities and they have to get ahead. And so that, yeah, so what Amira's saying, the carefree summer
Summer
days.
days. Yes, that's what I remember. I mean, I remember in the winter, specific snow times, but I don't remember all the nasty slush and nastiness. I remember fun tobogganing and summer days where it was warm and we could bicycle and you'd hardly had to put anything on, and you just sort of slept in what you were going to wear the next day, really. Or maybe not everybody did that. Is that in the case? But just very carefree. Yeah, you're out. Yeah, and there was really no structure to it. You made your own structure.
And you weren't striving for
Mm-mm.
anything.
No.
And I think that's a huge difference of young
We were
people.
just hanging out. I don't even remember what all we did. I know we used to play poker for mini pops, or was that after Bruce left? We used to play. We had little Nerf mini pop things, and they're little styrofoam things, and you'd.
No, we definitely did that. You're not crazy. You and I definitely did that in your townhouse in Shaughnessy.
Yep,
for sure.
And like tetherball. Do you remember tetherball?
Yeah.
And
of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Carefree.
Howie, I know you have such a rich fabric of memories to draw from. Are there any particular memories that really capture that era and time for you?
I mean, honestly, honestly, and I'm not just saying this because Kirsten's on, but riding up Neighbour to Kirsten's Shaughnessy townhome is like definitely like a solid memory that'll always be there, and probably like just playing hockey in the outdoor rink on Neimark by Lescon Park, just like with Brian Mainprize and Mark Ostler. It's just like a ridiculously great memory for me. But yeah, for sure driving up to the Shaughnessy townhomes and having Kirsten reject my unrequited love, and talking all about Bruce and how could Bruce leave me like this? How come John Savage, this replacement for Bruce, is like now gone also? And who are you, Howie? You're in the friend zone. But
it was kind of like that.
I do like.
To be honest, it didn't even. I mean, to be fair, it didn't even occur to me that you had. It was the biggest shock to me that you told me you had a crush on me. When later on, I think you only told me as an adult.
So yeah, there was that, and
your bike had a banana seat. Remember?
They all had banana seats.
That's true. That's true. And
that in the outdoor rink, outdoor skating rinks, and road hockey was like everything.
And I think, Howie, you undersold yourself, and you continue to do that. So when we look at these pictures, and you're like, I was a fat kid, I don't see a fat kid. I see a cute kid.
Kirsten, Bruce, please back me up here. I was absolutely the fat kid in school. Without Kirsten, come on.
You were just short for your width. That's all.
Yeah.
Husky. Kirsten, was I not the fat kid in school?
Husky. Okay, I will concede husky. You were not.
Really, I was the fat kid in school.
You were normal. We were all super skinny.
I was.
You were.
I was well fed. The rest of them were.
You weren't. Are we looking at the same pictures?
All this to say,
really, I was the fat kid in school.
Howie, that's a very harsh word. I don't even let my kids call anyone fat in my household. That's not a word we're allowed to use. And I think you should not allow yourself to use that word to describe yourself.
Except I'm old school. It's okay.
Howie, are you watching the chat go by? Because everybody's gushing about you. They're like, he was the cutest kid.
No, I don't. I honestly don't even see a chat.
There you go.
Oh yeah, me
see?
either. Hang on.
Elka knows what's up.
So all I
yeah.
want to say, and I think, even in our conversation, I know, Howie, you're so grateful for Kirsten. You're so grateful for
Sure.
Bruce. But you are the torchbearer for Willowdale in the 70s, and you sacrificially helm the ship. And so I think we cannot, not spend just a moment here as we wrap up tonight to honor and thank you for the impact that you have made on thousands of people's lives. You've
Honestly, this isn't like humble bragging. It never would have happened without Kirsten and Bruce.
Sure,
Honestly.
there's seeds, but you
Just
know
it
what?
would not have happened.
Ships can sink without a good captain. So
Exactly.
yes, you built a ship together, but without a good captain, that ship could completely just
Exactly.
not sail the way it has. So thank you, Howie, for what you have done. And this
1,000
is
times.
a
Thank you, Howie.
community worth celebrating. You just create so much meaning and magic in a way that makes people feel held, feel encouraged, feel healed, and feel a sense of belonging. So we celebrate you, Howie. We celebrate this community. We thank every person who bears their heart on a regular basis. That really, and I think because Howie again has created a culture of authenticity, people do not, they're not afraid to share something difficult, and then there's always a resounding community that surrounds those who need those words of encouragement. So
Thank you, but I honestly, without
Can we
Bruce
mute
and
him?
Kirsten,
Can we
it
mute
never
him?
would have happened. Honestly.
just receive it.
Okay.
Just say thank you, Howie.
Just say
'cause
thank
it's all
Thank
good.
you. Okay.
Just say
Yeah.
thank you. I'm
There you
glad you appreciate it.
Yeah.
We really do.
And we are so grateful to the three of you for those long nights, working out the rules, planting the seed. And, there's an analogy here where, like, you guys planted seeds, it became a tree where many people can come under the shelter of this tree that you planted together. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for spending this time with us. And we look forward to many more years of celebrating Willowdale in the 70s. It's a reminder for this generation, new Willowdaler, to continue and bear that torch of kindness, of village building, of connectivity. And we look forward to many more years of that. And hopefully a reunion in person that we can live stream together and say hello. So I think that's on Bruce to book a plane ticket, because as soon as he does, I know Howie and Kirsten will make it happen. So
We'll be there.
we wait for you, Bruce, to set the date. No pressure. But thank you so much for everything, guys.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you,
Kirsten,
Howie.
Thank you, guys.
Kirsten. Thank you, Lily and
It's an
Sebastian.
absolute pleasure.
This has been really great. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
And hi, everybody in the chat. It's nice to meet you all, too.
Thank you both.
Woohoo! Amazing, guys. And as you know, to know too that you guys are an inspiration for me and another generation of Willowdalers to keep those connections going. I got to speak yesterday with someone who I went to elementary school with in the early 2000s, who I hadn't talked to in years. So I hope that, for those who are watching, that we continue this torch as well for generations to come, to keep returning to those friendships and keep those Willowdale memories alive. So thank you for being that inspiration to people like me as well. And thank you for making some time on a Monday night to join us and chat, and for everyone who tuned in and watched and was in the comments. It was so great to see this community come together and rally together on a nice Monday night. So if you're watching this and you're like, you haven't joined the group yet, you got to get over there. You can head to Willowdale in the 70s on Facebook and join in on this family of 19,000 and growing members. And while you're at it, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at NeighborLinkNY. And Kirsten, you were talking about the kind of endless summer days. I know our team at NeighborLink have been it's not quite summer yet, but we're too antsy. We want one of those days. We've been craving it. At the end of April, we've got an event called Let's Move Willowdale. It's a move-a-thon and barbecue over at Hendon Park. I don't know if that was one of the parks that you guys frequented at all when you were kids. It's right at like Finch and Hendon. So we're gonna, like, people can walk, run, and ride through the Hydro Corridor. And Golden Star actually is going to be, we're going to have Golden Star burgers on the grill. And there's going to be hot dogs and veggie burgers and We Love Willowdale t-shirts and live music from local artists and things like that. So if you're interested in joining us, we invite you all. It's at, you can head to neighborlink.org/let's move to find out more if you're tuning in. We'd love to have you there. But yeah, this was so fun. And, you know, we're excited to be back next week. So if you're watching now, feel free to join us. We do these every Monday night. It'll be a new week, same time, same place, new neighbor. We're speaking next week with David Slonim, who's from Community Head Injury Resource Services. It's an incredible organization here in our neighborhood. And yeah, until then, why don't we just dance it out and say goodnight?
Okay, so
Good night, Willowdale.
That's the part where I leave. No, we're not dancing.
Oh, it's been wonderful. I'm so glad that the place that we wanted to talk has made everybody feel so welcome.
Awesome. All right.
Definitely.
Bye, Kirsten.
Bye, Bruce.
Hey,
Talk to you soon.
Aerosmith is playing in Vegas in August. The three of us should get together.
Oh.
70s, baby.